Greetings, Elimination. It's Monique Pressley. So happy to be able to be back with you again for the week with Monique. As seems to be the case every week this year since we ended up under this new administration, there's lots to discuss, lots that's troublesome, lots that's scandalous, but the promise that I bring you here with the week with Monique is I'm looking for those one or two things that if you don't pay attention to anything else, you should pay attention to these. No surprise, you've probably been hearing a lot about Signalgate. I've covered it on my channel, at Monique Pressley channel. I know that Don has covered it thoroughly here for you lemon heads and for the elimination. But it's not a coincidence that while this huge, troublesome national security scandal was going on, Trump and the Trump administration did something this past Tuesday that threatens the very core of our democracy. He signed an executive order regarding voting, and it's entitled Preserving and Protecting the Integrity of American Elections. But make no mistake about it, the goal of this executive order is not to preserve and protect American democracy or American elections. The goal of this executive order is to further the big lie, is to further the made up voter fraud, the massive voter fraud that never happened, the legions and legions of people who were here illegally who supposedly voted, the mail-in votes that were supposed to be fake. All of that is the basis for this, if followed, damaging, detrimental executive order. Few of the things that they're calling for in this executive order calls for new voter ID to be required in order for you to be able to vote. Has an entire section where it says you have to have a United States passport, or you can have an identification document compliant with the requirements of the Real ID Act of 2005. Now, if you've been looking at my other week with Monique's, then you know one of the things you need in order to get that Real ID that's required is a passport. So they're still asking for a passport. You can have an official military identification card. You can have a valid federal or state government issued photo identification. What are they not saying you can have? A birth certificate. What are they trying to do? Get rid of birthright citizenship by disenfranchising those who are rightful citizens here from being able to have the right to vote. They're trying to block your registration under the guise of protecting us from voter fraud that never happened. There are a few things that I want you to pay attention to about this, as always. The election executive order calls for three key things: no mail votes counted after election day, voter proof of citizenship, and for there to be conditions on federal election funding. So, for instance, the way it is now where states are able to take mail-in votes and count them up to a certain deadline after election day, if they were stamped, postmarked by election day, he wants to get rid of that. I've explained to you what he's trying to do with voter proof of citizenship. But what he's also doing, what he, the Project 2025 folks, the MAGA folks are trying to do, is make this a condition of federal election funding. So the money that is sent to each state in order to keep our voting processes safe and secure, they're saying if you don't do these things, if you don't comply with what we want, then we're not going to give you the funding at all. As you can imagine, ACLU, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, other organizations are stepping up and saying that they are not going to take this. The ACLU says, in part, President Trump's executive order attempting to require documentary proof of citizenship for voter registration and restrict the acceptance of mail-in ballots received after Election Day, among other measures, is a blatant overreach that threatens to disenfranchise tens of millions of eligible voters. This measure will no doubt disproportionately impact historically excluded communities, including voters of color, naturalized citizens, people with disabilities, and the elderly, by pushing unnecessary barriers to the fundamental right to vote. We will see you, President Trump, in court. That's from the ACLU. An AAC Legal Defense Fund released a full statement as well. And what they said, I just want to read a critically important part. The order purports to be grounded in concerns about election integrity, but despite what President Trump claims, the reality is that voter fraud, including voting by non-citizens, is exceedingly rare. This executive order is not about election integrity. It's about making it more difficult for people to vote. And they also go on to say, it will prevent eligible citizens from registering and casting a ballot and will be especially burdensome for Black voters. Indeed, only 1/3 of Black people have passports. The consequences will be grave. Fewer eligible people will be able to register to vote, and our democracy will be eroded because of it. Now listen, folks. We shouldn't be trying to make it harder for people to vote. We should be trying to make it easier for people with disabilities to vote, easier for people who have been historically disenfranchised to vote. But instead of doing that, this executive order aims to make it harder. Think this through. Why would they be trying to make it harder for you to vote? Why would they be making it such that you got to go through all these hurdles to get the one thing that you should have if you are born in the United States that is a true actualization of your power to decide things like how the budget is spent, local, state, federal level, to decide things like who represents you in Congress and passes laws on your behalf or against your behalf, to decide things like who can be the president of the United States and how many terms they can be president of the United States. Don't be fooled. And I'm not even saying don't be distracted, because I'm up to here on everybody saying it's just a distraction, it's just a distraction. No, they mean to do all of it. But there certainly is strategy to their timing. So when they drop this voting, hideous, horrible overreach of an executive order in the middle of one of the biggest scandals of the administration to date, have we really only been dealing with these people since January 20th? This is one of the biggest to date, where they have put our national security at risk, where they've shown their incompetence. And in the middle of fighting that, here comes this executive order designed at trying to take away the source of your true power. Ain't no accident. And yes, the ACLU will sue. Yes, NAACP, LDF will sue. Other groups will sue. Law firms that are under attack by President Trump, we saw more of that this week, they will sue and they will win, because this executive order, what it's attempting to do, cannot be done. It's trying to take things away that belong to the states. It's trying to take rights away that are really reserved for Congress. Can't be done. Will be shot down. But in the middle, they get at their true core objective: misinformation, disinformation, sowing seeds of distrust. You see, the goal underneath all of these actions, even the ones they know full well they're not gonna get away with, seeds of misinformation, disinformation, countless ads, running campaigns, trying to get you to not trust our government process, to not trust that our elections are fair, to not believe that your vote matters or even that your vote counts, and to buy into the big lie that we've had a presidential election stolen in 2020 and that there are scores and scores of people who have no right to vote who have been voting. None of it is true. Don't buy into it. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the lies. And this is where getting local, going local is really going to matter. Because our federal government, as you've been seeing over the past week, the past 2 weeks, the past 2 months, is quite literally disassembling before our eyes. We have leaders in charge who are not interested in taking care of our welfare, are incompetent to be able to do it even if they were interested. And while we're fighting these things in court, it's going to be up to you, one, to find trusted places. I hope you believe I'm one of them. Certainly Don Lemon is one of them. And there are others who are trying to bring you facts, data, opinion that's based on expertise. Find those. Read things for yourself. If you want to read that full executive order, you can go to whitehouse.gov and you can read it there. But even if you just want to take the time to find reliable sources to read information for yourself so you know what's happening, do that. And then look out for home and hearth. Local matters. Make sure your home is okay. Make sure your neighborhood is okay. Your city is okay. Show up at the school board meetings, at the council meetings. Be involved with making sure local elections, county elections, state elections are safe. Make sure local schools are getting what they need, that your state is doing what it has to do, because when the federal government is failing us, and we've got people here who are on it, trust and believe, I'm one of them. We're paying attention, we're organizing, we're strategizing, we're fighting. But it's really going to end up coming down to what's happening on that state level. That's where the protection is. That's where the gate is. That's where the don't cross line is. What's going on in your county? What's going on in your town and on your block? So don't believe that you don't matter. Don't believe that one individual can't make a difference. You can, and you do. You make a difference when you vote. You make a difference when you don't. You make a difference when you advocate for yourself, for your family, for your kids, and you make a difference when you don't. So when you, one person, gets with another one, that's 2 + 2 more is 4. And so on. You get my drift. Do something. Don't let them do it while you sit back and watch. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I hope you learned something. I hope you will share it. Please subscribe to my channel at Monique Pressley channel on YouTube. Like this video and others that we're sharing with you so the algo will be our friend. And please subscribe to Don's channel and keep coming back. Until next time, Week with Monique next Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Stay safe out there.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.